Before giving you another example of two purchases Jane made that are similar yet different, I want to briefly discuss the idea of special categories, special vendors, special locations. Primarily, this applies to special categories of products. And I have designed into the program the ability to track special tax rates in certain areas where the different states vary considerably in how they tax these products. And for the full details of how this works and what these categories are, you should refer to the program instructions. But just to give you an overview, here we're looking at a screenshot of a report that is designed to do maintenance on products in these special categories, and you can see that there are 4 color groups. In the upper left, we have clothing and footwear items. Beside that, we have digital products, including software. Lower left, we have drugs and medical devices. And lower right, we have so-called sin tax items: liquor, cigarettes, tobacco products, and now marijuana. So you'll want to take a look at how these things work in the program instructions and why it is important to use these categories for your purchases in these areas. Let's now take a look at 3 purchases that Jane made of alcoholic beverages. Now, alcoholic beverages are consumables, so I told you earlier that I'm not going to be calculating tax on consumables, but an exception to that is going to be sin tax items, only because there's such a great deal of variation among the states in what they charge. But still, in the end, it will be your decision whether or not you will choose to pay sales tax on sin tax items that you bought out of state. I may as well at this point also note that the sales tax is not really part of the sin tax on these items. The sin tax is actually excise taxes, which are not the concern of this program because they are actually paid by the vendor and thus built into the ticket price of the item that you purchase. So effectively, you're going to pay sales tax on the sin tax if it is a taxable item. So let's say that Jane, who is a resident of Massachusetts, wandered over the state line into New Hampshire. And pulled into the New Hampshire State Liquor Store to buy 2 items. One is a bottle of her favorite sparkling wine. The brand is Banfi. We'll use the default order date. Category is wine, which is a special subcategory of the sin tax items. Model number we'll make up. Serial number we'll say none. We'll leave it blank. And the description is this. Jane paid $16.99 as a calculated State of Massachusetts tax due on wine purchases of $1.06, but she wasn't charged in the state of New Hampshire because they have no sales tax. So Jane technically still has an obligation, a sales tax obligation to Massachusetts for $1.06. Notes. She's going to serve it at a party. Subcategory will be no, she doesn't use one. It's not necessary. It's new. Now she's going to use a special location consumable and add the purchase. As with gift, special location consumable will exclude this purchase from her insurance valuation report. That will be done automatically for her. Let's say also that Jane wanted to buy a bottle of her favorite hard liquor, and it is brand Benriach. Category will be liquor. Model number, we'll make one up, no serial number, and the description is single malt Scotch whiskey. Price at retail $54.99. Now you'll note here that the tax calculated is zero because the state of Massachusetts is a little unusual in this regard in that they tax wine and beer, but they don't tax liquor. Notes, none. Subcategory will be we'll leave that alone. We don't need it. Jane thinks she doesn't need a subcategory. Condition is new. She will also use location consumables because while it is not going to be consumed as quickly as the wine, it is still a consumable. She'll keep it off her valuation report. Now Jane is going to make another purchase of alcoholic beverages, but this one is going to be a little different. She's going to buy a case of expensive wine from an out-of-state vendor, and this will be as an investment. The fact of it being an investment, not being germane to the sales tax argument, but I'll just for the narrative, that's why she's buying it. And she's purchasing from a company called the Duke Society. They're based in Iowa. And the brand is going to be Caillou Vineyard. The category is going to be wine again. Model number, whatever. No serial number. The description here is going to be, it's their type Syrah. And we'll call it vintage wine. To justify the price, I should say vintage 2014. Now, Jane bought a case of 6 bottles for $200 each, so her total price is $1,200. Now you can see that Massachusetts does charge sales tax on wine, so that her tax obligation legally to the state of Massachusetts is $75. But the Duke Society, being out of state, did not charge her sales tax. Jane puts a note for investment. Subcategory will put investments, condition is new, and the location will be in Jane's Wine Cellar. And we add that purchase. And you'll notice it is valuing here at $1,200. And it may appreciate in time. Jane plans to hold on to this for several years and then sell it at auction after having it reappraised for current value. Just to give you an example of the way some of these special category products like alcoholic beverages can be handled very differently by the different states. I'm going to take the example of the states of Washington, Idaho, and Montana for purchases of liquor. The state of Washington has a special sales tax rate of 20.5% on liquor. If a Washington resident drives to the neighboring state of Idaho, they have a sales tax on liquor of 6%, which is their general tax rate. So legally, a state of Washington resident purchasing his liquor in the state of Idaho has an obligation of 14.5% remaining to the state of Washington. Now, if he is willing to drive across the Idaho Panhandle into Montana, they have no state sales tax whatsoever, so that his obligation to the state of Washington now rises to the full 20.5%. Of course, as a consumable, and generally, he is on the honor system as to whether or not he is going to declare this purchase and pay his sales tax to the state of Washington. At this point, I'm going to conclude this video. In the next one, we'll take a look at the program reports, which will show you how you're going to benefit from using this program. So, once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.